to start off with, let's begin with why in the first place we need to write a project report. What's the whole purpose of writing a project report? Anyone who would want to answer that question? Why do we need to write one in the first place? Like, why isn't doing a project enough? Why do we have to go ahead a step and report it as well?
Can I? Oh, go ahead.
Yes,
Go ahead.
Sorry, is it okay?
Yes, Ashwini, go ahead. Yeah, it's okay. You can go ahead.
To go ahead and outline what is necessary and to plan ahead.
Okay, yes, that's a good answer. Thank you for that. Thank you for volunteering and answering. Anyone else who would want to share their thoughts on why in the first place we need to write a project report?
So from my end, I'd say I've been hearing this from seniors, from our own club members who would say that when you're doing a project, it's not just about the project. Like, you have to do the report. If there's no report, there's no evidence of you have done that project, something like that. If there's no reporting, there's no project done at all, like something like that. It's more like equal to that. So, yeah.
Yes, thank you, Omera, for bringing it up. That's very true. Like, how are you going to prove that you did a project if you don't have a project report at the end of the day? Everything about it, like, whatever you say is not enough. You need to have evidence. You need to have proof to show people that it actually happened. So that is why we need a project report, right? So just another question for you guys. So imagine someone joins your club like 5 years from today, and if the only thing they have to know about is a project report that you have written, let's say an important project that you've done in the club, and that is the only evidence that you have, like Omera said. So think about that project report. Someone who joins 5 years from now, will they understand why that project mattered so much? Or will they, by reading your report, will they get the whole idea of that project? Like, has everyone here at least had one time experience of writing a report? So give a little thought to yourself and just answer it for yourself and see, like, if someone 5 years down the line reads your report, will they get the whole idea what you wanted to say? Will they be able to picture that project exactly the way you want them to, exactly the way that it happened, right? So that is the purpose of a project report. It is it's always for a third person, right? It's not just for yourself, it's always for someone outside. It's always for a third person who doesn't know anything about the project. For someone who doesn't know about the project, they need to go through your project report and get a whole picture and understand, okay, this is what has happened, this is what they have done, this is what they have achieved, and this is the impact they've made to the society. So giving that picture, your whole responsibility of the way you write the report, how you write the report, everything depends on how you give that picture to that person, right? So that is what I'm going to take you guys through on how you can give that clear idea, clear picture to a third person who is going to read your report, okay? Right, so moving forward, right. So before we get into how to write a great report, I'll underline a few more things on why we need to stress so much on writing a report. Because end of the day, like Omera said, accountability. Your report is the evidence that you have to show anybody. Like, let's say you raised funds for this. So the only evidence that you have to show show the people that you raised the fund from is your project report, right? That's one thing. And the other is if you take Rotaract clubs, our leadership changes every year. So we've just started, we're just in the second week of a brand new Rotaract year, right? So everything that happened in the past should not be forgotten. Like, let's say there were great projects that happened, great project ideas. Those things should not be lost, right? We need to bring them back. We need to continue that legacy. So, project reports are always a proof document for that. They're always a reference document. When you move forward, the old project reports are always a reference document for you to get ideas from, for you to continue things from there, for you to build things from that point. They always act as a reference document for you, right? And it's also something that, you know, when you go through your old reports, you know what you have to do and what you don't have to do. Like, you'll identify this is something wrong they've done last year, so we need to amend this mistake we shouldn't be repeating again, right? So so if you want to build your club that way, if you want to go forward that way, like in a better way, those documents, these project reports always give you that reference. Okay. Then, of course, for recognitions, if you all were at the recently concluded Rotaract District Assembly, you know, a lot of projects were awarded and all of that. So, how did they award the projects? What was the proof they had to award for the project? It was everything was in the project report. The district who, you know, review and go through and, you know, decide this project is going to get this award, they go through each and every word in your project report and what they understand. If you are able to make them understand, if you are able to give them the picture that you want, that is how they will analyze and award you guys at the assembly, right? And the other thing is to measure your impact. Why you do a project is to either solve a problem in the community or something like that. So if for you to answer yourself, like, did you solve the problem? Like, did you reach the people that you wanted to? Did you benefit the right people? Like, what is the outcome that you had from the project? Everything is included in the project reports. So it's not just a document. It is the proof that the project happened, and it is the proof. It is a reference document for you to carry along for years to develop from that point. Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions so far? Shall we move on? Okay. I'll take that silence as no. There's no questions so far. But if you guys have any questions at all, you all can you know, disturb me in between and ask any questions. No problem. Right. So moving on. What, like, how to write a great project report? That's the next thing that we're going to look into. So in my point of view, these are the questions that you would have to answer in your project report. Why that project happened? What happened? How did it happen? So what did you change? So what's the impact that you brought into the society? If you are able to answer these questions through your project report, you're including everything about that project. You won't miss anything about that project. So let's go one by one. So start off with, you have to first underline why this project was needed. Okay, so why do you, like, if you see it might be a problem that you see in the society. So why are you doing this project? What is your objective behind doing this project? You need to underline that first. And what is the issue you were trying to? Sorry, did anyone want to say anything? Okay. All right. I hope that was a mistake. All right, so moving on. So you need to understand like what is the issue you were trying to solve, and give an understanding about that for someone who doesn't know about your project. And the next thing is, what exactly did you hope to achieve? Like, what was your target by doing this project? So also you need to make sure when you answer these questions, they're measurable. Your objectives should be measurable whenever possible. So for example, you can't just say you raised awareness. You can maybe say you educated this many number of students on financial literacy, right? Instead of just saying that you raised awareness, if you can say you educated 150 students on financial literacy, that gives more clarity and that gives more understanding for someone who doesn't know about your project, for a third person. Okay, so you just basically have to include everything that happened during our project in the third one, like how it happened. How did you organize the project? How did you plan it? Who are the people involved in it? You can talk about your committee. You can talk about the partners who are involved. You can talk about the sponsors who are involved. And maybe if you took meetings to plan these project, you can talk about all of that on how it happened. Then we come to the most important point. So what did you change? What is the impact that you made, right? So this is very important because this gives a very good understanding to a third person who is reading it as to like what you have achieved ultimately. Like, what outcome have you given through your project, right? So what have you changed by doing this project, or what was the final outcome of it? What is the impact that you've created in the society? For all of this is answered in the last question, like, so what you've changed here, right? So when you write all of this, especially when it comes to bringing out the impact of the project that you did, you can always use the SDG goals. You can go through the UN Sustainable Development Goals website for your reference, and also the Rotary focus areas. And you can relate it to your project. Like, you can always relate how your project has impacted those sustainable development goals and the Rotary's areas of focus, right? And moving on, these are a few common mistakes that I think people do when writing a project report. A few things that I've noticed. So what I mean by writing like a diary is that, you just note down things like maybe like, how do I say, we started at this time on this day, something like that. So it sounds like a diary. So I always recommend to write project reports in third person narration, where I'll show you an example in the next slide. So always make sure you write your project reports in third person narration, because then it is like, it's understandable for anyone, and like, no matter after how long you read it, it gives you a clear picture and understanding. The next one is not including numbers. Like, if you don't include statistics in your project report, the project report won't have a value to it. So let's say you say that many people attended the project. Rather than that, if you can say 186 or whatever the number of participants attended, there's more value to that project when you do that. So always make sure you include statistics and you include numbers, whatever you've done, right? And the next thing is ignoring challenges. Now, every project like doesn't happen without a challenge. Like, it's it's not wrong to talk about your challenges that you went through during doing a project. It gives more value to your project report if you can include the challenges that you went through while doing the project. Like let's say your project got so there were certain delays due to registrations or something. So you can always include something like the next time you would, maybe like do a pre-online registration or something, because this was something that challenged us during the project, doing registrations on the spot. So so don't hesitate to include your challenges. It's okay to include the challenge. Like, it doesn't bring down your project. It gives more value to your project reports. So don't think you shouldn't be including your challenges or anything. It's not like that. Like, whatever you think you need to improve, if you do that project again, include those things as well in the project report. And the next one is capturing the impact ineffectively. So your project must have you must have done it like it must have created a huge impact. But if you don't really show that in your project report, there's no point of it. Like, nobody would know about it, right? Someone who's a third person who's reading your report wouldn't know like what impact you have created. So it's very important that you capture that impact properly. Like, it could be from supporting evidences that you include. It could be the pictures, it could be the PR links that you attach, it could be the finances that you attach with your project report. If you don't include those things, people wouldn't know the impact that you've created, right? So, for example, even if you when you write the impact about the project, let's say it's a tree planting project, right? So let's say you just write that we planted 500 trees. Rather than that, if you can maybe say something like the project restored approximately this many acres of land by planting 500 trees, include where the local youth was involved in the long-term environmental conservation or something like that. That enhances your project report, and that gives a better idea on what impact you have created. You've not just planted 500 trees, you've involved the local youth in that area, and you have worked on environmental conservation. All of that enhances your project report and gives the third person a better idea as to how much of an impact you have created through the project that you did, right? So you can always include how it was before you did it, before you did your project, and after you did your project, what are the changes that has happened. You can always compare before and after to give a better idea on what impact you have created in the society or wherever through your project. So the next thing is using AI responsibly. So what I'm trying to say here is not like don't use AI. That is not what I'm trying to say here. I think Shima brought it up at the beginning itself, that though she tried using AI, it didn't really help. Like, it didn't really give the exact idea that she wanted, right? So it's okay to use AI, but you have to write the project report. It doesn't matter how good or how bad your language skills are, or how good or bad your grammar is, and all of that. So you have to write the report first, and you can always use AI later to correct your grammar mistakes, to structure your sentences properly, or maybe if you want to summarize, or if you want to bring a professional tone to it, that you can do through AI. But you can't expect AI to write the whole report for you. It won't it won't give the same idea as how you write it, right? So always you write the report first. Don't worry about how it sounds, how your language is, or any of that. You write the report first and then give AI to enhance it, AI to make it better, like, cut down your grammar mistakes, structure your sentences properly, paragraphs properly, break down things whenever necessary. So that will enhance your project. If you give the whole responsibility of writing the project to AI, it's not going to do a good job because it's not going to capture the whole essence of your project. Only the project chair or the one who did the project knows the whole essence of the project. So AI wouldn't be helpful there. It will only be helpful to develop from what you have built in your project report, right? So yeah, that is some common method. Those are some common mistakes that I've noticed. And I'll also include something for the first time, like someone who's writing a report for the first time or someone who's chairing a project for the first time. So when you get a project to chair, so you do know at the end of the project you are expected to write a report, right? So if you're someone who's doing this for the first time, you will have to, from the beginning itself, you will have to, keep things recorded, like have everything that's happening recorded. So that way you won't forget things once you've ended your project, you won't forget things. You will have all the records, and now it's a matter of like putting it all together and making it, nice and all of that. So you don't miss facts or details about the project. And another thing is you can always read the past reports that your club has written or any other club has written. I'm sure you all would have the past reports and all of that. So do go through those reports and get an idea like how it is written, how it is being structured and all of that. And if you want to get a better experience, like before you write your first project report, you can involve yourself in helping either the secretary of your club or someone else who's trying to do a project report. You can get involved in it, help that person. So, you have a little bit of experience before you go into your first project. So a project is never completed until you also submit your project reports, because at the end of the day, that is the proof document or the evidence that you have to say that you actually did this project and this actually happened, right? So so that is why it's important. And something else also, so there's something that I've noticed is even though the secretary is the one who's submitting the project reports to the district, she or he might not be involved in that project 100%. That person also has other responsibilities to be done. So that person is not 100% involved in that project, like from A to Z. So the only person who is involved 100% from everything, like everything about the project who's involved, is the project chair. Nothing happens in that project without the project chair knowing, right? So the project chair is the best person who can give out everything about the project. So when the project chair writes a report, it's very important they include every detail. Sometimes people are a little lazy to write things, long paragraphs and all of that. That's understandable. But still, you shouldn't miss anything. If you can include every single detail that you've done, every single thing that you know about the project that you did, that will give the secretaries, they will have a better idea and they will be able to, make that project report even better when they submit it to the district. So something I've noticed is project chairs like don't really write everything about that project. They just write, they just give a very surface level description. So that is not enough. So make sure you like dig into and write every single small or big detail about it. So you don't like, there's nothing missing out there. So that will help the secretary also like to develop the project report from there onwards. That's pretty much I had to say. Do you all have any questions? So this is a small example for you guys to understand uh, how to write things in a better way, right? So here the first one says our project was very successful and everyone enjoyed it. That's it, right? But see the second one. It says 162 students participated in the workshop. 90.1% rated the session as valuable, and 3 schools requested future collaborations. So there are statistics there. It's it is in third person narration, and also it has more details and it shows the impact that you've created. If other 3 more schools have requested future collaborations, you've made an impact, right? So everything has been put into one sentence. But if you read the first one, it's it's it doesn't give you that idea. It doesn't give you that exact idea. So just think about it. For someone who doesn't know about your project, would they know better by reading the first sentence or the second sentence? So that, yes, exactly. So you all do understand how big of a difference it makes, right? The first one and the second one. So that is what I wanted to highlight mainly. Were you going to say anything?
Oh no, I was disagreeing.
All right. So do you guys have any questions? I didn't want to make this a long session because report writing gets very boring if you talk for too long. So yeah, that's pretty much that I had to share. But if you guys have any questions, I can happily answer.
Excuse me.
Yeah,
This is about a point that was in the previous slide. If that's okay. Um,
yeah, I'm sure. Shall I take you to the previous slide?
if it's okay if I ask it.
Yeah,
I
sure.
asked it before. I didn't really understand what capturing the impact ineffectivity meant.
Okay, all right. So what I'm trying to say there is, so for example, uh, let's say I can take this same sentence. Yeah, I can take the same sentence, right? So in the first sentence, it says our project was very successful. Instead of just saying your project was very successful, you're saying that 160 students participated in the workshop. And you're also saying that 90.1% rated the session as valuable. So that is the impact that you're trying to show how many people you have impacted, how much it has impacted people. So do you like get it, like it in the, if you say just our project was very successful and everyone enjoyed it, that doesn't show the impact. So that is that is what I meant by capturing the impact ineffectively. You've actually um, reached out 162 students, and you've created an impact there. They've rated your session valuable and all of that, but people don't know about it. Though you've created that impact, people don't know about it if you just say our project was very successful and everyone enjoyed it, right?
Okay, thank you.
No worries. Anybody else have any questions?
Excuse me,
Yes.
can you explain why and what our project report answer is important?
Sorry.
For what, for why it's our project report answer is important?
Yeah, sure. So okay, so are you asking like why we should write a project report? Is that your question?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So, okay. So, like I said, like a few people here also told, if if you do a project, if you do a tree planting project, uh, and you just leave it there, nobody knows that you did the project, right? You don't have proof that you actually did the project, and you don't say you involved sponsors in this project. You don't have evidence to show them what you did, how you used their money, and what impact you created. For example, let's say when you take a sponsorship, you would have promised that, you would have explained them, this is the amount of impact, or this is what we are going to do for the society. So you need to, at the end of the day, have evidence that you actually did that, what you were planning on, or if you were planning on creating this much of impact, do this much of things for the society, you need to have a proof at the end of the day you actually did that and how impactful it was. So that is one of the reasons that you need to have a project report. And like I said before, it is an evidence, and also it is something people can analyze your project on. If you are applying for an award or anything, the project report stands as, the basic document that anybody can go through and understand about your project, and analyze for any award that you're applying for. So yeah, those are pretty much the simple basic things that why you need it. It's end of the day the one and only evidence that you have about that project. So that is why.
Thank you.
Right.
Excuse me.
Hi, so I have one question. I will talk over Umera's device because if I turn on my camera, it will echo since we are in the same place. What? How is the most critical point that a report will stand alone in the district to be recognized over the other reports and projects? How do you
Right.
interpret?
Okay. I think okay. So it always comes down to how much of impact you've made through that project. So like everybody can be doing the same kind of project and all of that, right? So what have you uh, done more? Like everybody would be everybody would be doing a tree planting project, right? So everybody just plants 100 trees. So how are they going to evaluate which tree planting project has done better, right? So it depends on what is the impact that you've created. It's just not the number, like I just planted 100 trees. That doesn't give the impact. Like I said earlier, it can be like uh, you are involving the community there, you are involving the local young people there to in your project, and maybe you're talking about how your project has impacted in terms of environment. So those are the things that will show how much of impact you've created through your project, and that is something the district can evaluate on when they compare your project with a similar project from another club. I hope I answered your question, okay?
Yes, Rotaractors. Thank you.
All right. Get someone
Yes,
to
someone
raise
raised their
hand.
hand. Miss Sash Pereira.
Hi, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah, I have a question when it comes in regards to uh, when we are giving in this quantitative data, like the numbers and all. Is there a particular ratio of ratio which you're expecting? Like, all right, we're including numbers. Like, okay, 1,000 people were impacted in a positive way, something like that. Should it all be just numbers? Can we, make it a bit more colorful on another end? Like, where should we make it more story wise, and where should we make it more number wise in that sense?
Okay. So I won't say numbers alone would prove your project's impact, but it would, increase someone else to understand how much of impact you've made. So there's like, it's a must to include numbers in the project or anything like that. But if you do include that, someone's reading the report or someone's analyzing your report, a better idea to analyze it. It gives them a better understanding, and if they're comparing somebody else, compare it. So that is why I mentioned about numbers. So apart from numbers, there are other ways you can show your impact as well. Like you show in a project how it was, say it's a cleaning project or something. You show how it was before and you show how it was after. So that way you can show the impact that you've created in a different way, not exactly through numbers, right? So that's one way of showing. So from project to project, it depends like how you can show the impact that you've created. Does that make sense to you, Mishak? Okay, all right. Anybody else
Excuse
have any
me?
questions? Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a question. So is there like a specific format, like a fixed format, when it comes to writing a project report?
Um, Before I answer that question, may I ask, are you a Rotaractor?
Yes, I am.
Okay, all right. So if specifically talking about submitting a Rotaract project report, yes, we do have a specific structure to it. If you're someone who has already got your RMIS access, you can, for now, you can just explore it and see under project reports. You do have a specific structure. You have a description to give, you have objectives to write, and then you have pre-planning to write. You have a planning section where you have to include how you planned your project, and then you have PR planning to be included, and then you also have to include PR links, and then you have a finance section to complete, and then you also have where you have to explain the impact or the outcome that your project created, where it's broken down into short-term outcomes and long-term outcomes. And there's also a section where you have to explain what things, like if you did the same project again, what would you improve about this, right? So those are the basic sections that you have when you write a project report, and you will be given in detail about this during your ADTS sessions as well. So for now, yes, that is the basic breakdown of structure of the project report for Rotaractors.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm a new member, so this was very insightful.
No worries. Have you explored your RMIS?
No, not yet.
Okay, I would say just take your time and explore it. Go see what's there in it, and yeah, you can always reach out if you want any help. But yeah, those are the basic. That's the basic structure of a project report.
Hi, excuse me.
Yeah.
This may be a little irrelevant. Sorry about that, but I just want to know, how do you get your RMI access?
Okay. I think you've been sent an email for it, and there is a link to the site, and you have to include your NIC there, and you can get registered that way. I think you receive an OTP to your email address that is being registered. So that way you can set up your RMIS, and if you like still do have any questions, you can reach out to me after this and I will help you figure it out.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sorry for the trouble.
No worries, not at all.
Okay, so there's another person who has raised their hands.
Yeah.
Saji.
Yes, miss. Can we include our specific statistics in our report?
Yeah, sure. Why not? You can always
Do we
include
need
your.
to attach hard evidence to prove these numbers?
Sorry?
Do we need to attach hard evidence to prove these numbers? It means when I say 90% rated the session as valuable, how can you get to know that?
Yeah, of course. So if you that say you run a survey to get that, right? So maybe you can add a link to that survey, or you can if there is a screenshot of something that you can include under the photos section. That's few ways that you can prove your statistics, whatever you include in your project report.
Is it must?
Yes, so anybody can say this, right? So anybody can do a project and just give a few numbers and give statistics like that. So that is another step that you have to go forward and submit evidence, proof documents. It could be photographs, it could be survey links or whatever. So that way your project report has more value to it, and the one who is reading it gets a better understanding, and that person doesn't have to uh, come and ask you personally or anything, how did you get these numbers or anything. The proof is already there. So yes, it's always better to do that. If not, someone can think that you've just entered any number. All right. Do we have any more questions?
Give me a minute. I got another question from someone from here. I think they can't ask it over, so I'll just ask it on behalf of them. So that question is like, if we write a project, will it support future projects?
Sorry, if you write a project.
Will it support future projects?
Okay. So I'm assuming your question is, by writing a project report, how is it going to support other projects in future, right? So like I said earlier, whatever the project reports that you have from the past are always a reference document for the members who are going to write new project report or anything. So they can always go through that and understand how it's written, how the structure is, for them to write a new one. That's one thing, how it helps. And the other thing is, so you can always get project ideas from your old project reports, and you don't have to do the exact same thing. You can improvise it even more in a better way and organize it. So I don't know if I answered her question, but I'm not sure if that's what she expected.
Yeah.
Hi, Rotaractors Rasmina. I have another question, please. So I'm talking again over Omera's device. So, what is the best ever report that you have ever submitted that you are very satisfied about? Can you name the project and share us the story that you went through on writing the report, or as a personal note? Yes.
Okay. I think always community service projects. I think I have on a personal note, like I, it's like, you can put in a lot of heart to writing when it comes to a community service project. So I don't exactly recall like an exact project report, but then I can maybe name a few that we've done in the past. I would say something that we always do in our clubs, an annual project, which is the Christmas gift box. So it's a donation project to a rural school um, in terms of supporting their education. So that the project reports that I've written on that are something that I'm always satisfied about writing. And yeah, anything else? That's what came to my mind at once. But yeah, I think basically community service project reports you know gives more satisfaction when you're writing it.
Okay, so another thing is, when it comes to reporting, do you think word count matters, or is it like table wise, or you know what I mean, right? Do you get that? Like, does word count matter, or the short and summarized way matter?
Okay. Word count matters. That by saying word count matters, I don't say just because your description of that project is like 1,000 words, you've done a good project report. No, it's not that. And you can't also describe your project in 1 or 2 sentences and finish it off, right? So I can't say word count matters or word count doesn't matter. Also, it does matter. In my opinion, you can't just write a description of a project in like 2 or 3 lines and finish it off. So it does matter to a certain extent. Just because you write 1,000 word also doesn't mean you've done a good job there. You write a few sentences also doesn't mean like you've not done a good job. So it's somewhere in the middle. But
It's
yes,
more like it depends on the project.
sorry.
It's more like it depends on the project.
Yes, it's more like it depends on the project, and I've seen people write project reports. I don't know if it's still continued, but we used to have a Google form where people need to submit their project report through a Google form. So we have a limit there. Until you reach that limit, that Google form cannot be submitted. So I've seen people, write a couple of sentences, and now because there's no enough words and they can't submit the form, they just include like 10 lines of just dots so they can submit it, right? So why we had that limit there, you need to have this much of words to submit the project report, that Google form, is because we wanted to get everything from the project chair. Like like I said this earlier also, the project chair is the one who knows every tiny detail of that project. So if you can include every tiny detail of that project, what happened, how it happened, why it happened, everything, that gives the secretary a better idea about that project, and she can, build that report in a she or he can build that report in a much better way. So that is why we usually had that limit in that Google form. So yeah, so it's a matter of including everything about the project. No matter you write 1,000 words or 10 words, if you have included everything about the project, that is what matters.
So, Miss, what also matters is how you bring the impact out of the project, right? The impact that you're trying to say.
Yes, definitely. So yeah, so that is why I always say, now if you see this particular example on the screen as well, the first one is just a very short sentence, but doesn't give you the idea, right? It doesn't give you the complete idea of that project. It doesn't make you understand how good of a project it was or how much impact it has made. But if you read the second one, it's a little more than the first. It's couple of more sentences added to it, but it gives you a better idea. It gives you a better understanding of the project, and it gives you a good picture about the project than the first one, right? So that is the difference that I'm talking about.
Miss, so is word count a compulsory requirement in reports or not all the time?
No,
Okay.
it's not. If you are the Rotaractor, if you're talking about submitting a project report to the district, no, it's not a requirement. There's no word count limit.
Okay.
So, like, you need to have at least 100 words to submit the project report. No, there's nothing like that. It's all up to you to how much you want to include.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions?
One last question, I believe. Give me a minute. Yeah. So there's this one question that I got. How can clubs ensure reports reflect the actual project rather than exaggerating the achievements? And is there a proper follow-up from the district to capture those?
Can you repeat that one more time, please?
Sure, sure. So it says, how can clubs ensure reports reflect the actual project rather than exaggerating the achievements? Is there a proper follow-up from the district to capture those?
Okay, a proper follow-up from the district. Anything about your project, the only document that the district has is your project report, right? So if you exaggerate things about it or however you write it, that is the only document that the district has to know about your project or to analyze your project. So it's all up to you to what you want to include in it and how you want to include in it. But yeah, so there's similar levels of projects done if you take a community service under a specific focus area like water and sanitation. Your project reports are going to be compared as to what kind of a water and sanitation project you did and what kind of a water and sanitation project another club did. So they're going to read both of those reports and see. So those two are the evidence that they have for a water and sanitation project from each of the clubs. So they're going to read those two and they're going to compare those two, obviously, and which project report gives them a better idea about the project, which project reports gives them a better understanding, which project reports gives gives them the idea of how much of an impact that project has made is going to win, right? So that's basically how it happens. I hope I answered that question.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So there's another question from Jithmi Pereira. He or she has dropped it in the chat box. It says, if a project had low participation but a huge impact, how would you reflect that in the report? Can an excellent report make an average project look outstanding? And where should the line be drawn?
Right. If a project had low participation but a huge impact, how would you reflect that in the report? There's no problem. Like just because your participation in that project is low, it doesn't matter. You had a low impact as well. It could be just one person that you're impacting, but the impact could be big, right? So it's how much how much explanation you put into the impact that you've made. Um, for example, let's say it's a donation again. It's a donation again, um, or let's say you're funding you're funding a fund, your you're funding someone to get their education, like, you know, sit for their A levels or something. You just help one person, one or two people, or a small group of people to sit for their exams or something like that. Do a bit of a revision or something like that. But so there, let's say it's a small group of let me build a story there. It's a small group of students from a rural area where you're helping those students with with revision classes or something like that, to succeed in their A-level examination, let's say. So let's say what you did help them a lot, and that group of students passed really well in their exams, right? So you've made a huge impact there. Though it's only been 5 students or whatever, the impact that you've made is huge because you've literally helped those 5 build their future, right? It all depended on, let's say, all their future dependent on was depending on the exam that we're going to write. So you've made a huge impact there. So though the number is small, it's just 5, the impact that you've made is huge. So you need to show it, like, you know, how you did it, and you know, if you talk about the background of those students and how they're going to, you know, how it's going to impact their future, that shows how much an impact that project with a small attendance has made, right? That is to answer your first question. And the next one, did I answer your first question, Jitni? Okay, I hope it's a yes. So the next one, can an excellent report make an average project look outstanding? That should the line be drawn? Of course. And excellent, an average project, you can make it an outstanding one through your project. It all depends on your project. So it all depends on how much you talk about it and what you talk about that project, like how much you relate it to your, how much you can relate what you did. It's a very small project, but still there should be some kind of impact. So you can talk about the sustainable development goals. It's not just about, you know, goal number 17, target 1 has been achieved. Take, not like that I'm talking about. You take that particular sustainable development goal and you explain how that sustainable development goal was achieved through your project. You take a Rotary focus area, water and sanitation, and you explain it how you've helped that Rotary focus area, right? So just writing that goal and ticking the box wouldn't show the impact, wouldn't make it an outstanding project. You need to explain how you achieved that sustainable development goal or how you supported it. So that way it can become an outstanding report, right? Oh no, you don't have to be sorry about asking. What should you do if you don't have enough photos or evidence for a project? How do you report the impact of projects where results cannot be measured immediately? If 2 clubs conduct the same project, what makes one report stand out over the other? All right. So to answer the first 2 questions, I would always encourage you should have photos and evidence. It always makes it better. So as much as you can, try and gather the evidence that you need to include in your project report. But if you don't have, it's okay. Even if you don't have a picture, you have a picture in your mind, right? So put it into words and try to put it into words so that the third person can understand it, right? So maybe that way you can show how much of an impact you've made. And that results cannot be measured immediately. Yes. So in something like that, still you can show how much you've done. You can show, though you don't have the results immediately, you can maybe give the person who's reading it an idea what kind of a result it may create in the future. It takes, let's say, it takes a few months. So you can say in a few months, this is the kind of result that this is the result that can be seen, or this is the outcome that will come out of this project. So though you don't have it right now, you can say this would happen, or this is what will be seen in the future, or something like that, to give it, like, to show that's the impact that you can create. And to answer your third one, if two clubs conduct the same project, what makes one report stand out over the other? So in this case, project reports, it necessarily doesn't have to be done like that, but I always encourage a joint project. The whole point of a joint project is to work together, right? Two clubs work together, from starting from planning to execution, they work together. So project report is also the same. I always suggest that you all work together to write the project report. So there can be small differences in what you submit. Like, there can be details that specifically that is supposed to be to your club, but because it was a joint project, the overall is going to be the same. The planning, the execution, how you did it, the objectives, all of that is going to be the same. So why not write it together? Because end of the day, a project report, even if you're talking about awards, you will need to nominate it together in the end of the day. So why not write it together? So don't think about how I'm going to write it better than the other. If it's a joint project, I would always suggest to write it together. And there another one. How much importance should grammar and design have compared to the actual project impact? Especially on the annual report. All right. I wouldn't say like, so you have compared to the actual project impact with the importance that needs to be given to grammar and design there, right? So I would say the other way around. You need to give more importance to the actual impact that the project has created, and the grammar and the design has to be secondary, because the actual impact that you created to your project, it is what is more important in the report. And when preparing a detailed project report, should we include every small detail of the project, or is it better to summarize the key information and focus on the most important aspects, such as, yeah, of course, you can focus on the important aspect, which is objectives, outcomes, impact. But what I try to say is, by including small details, is I'm talking about from the club level to the district level. Okay, so from a club level, what you submit to your club secretary, there you need to include all the tiny details, so that person who is going to enhance the report and submit it to the district gets a better idea. So that is why I said it's really important to include all tiny information. So the secretary might not be the person who is completely involved in the project. It's the project chair, it's you who's involved. So if you can give all the tiny details to her or him, that it's going to make the life of that person easier when that person is submitting the report to the district, right? So then that person can make the summarization, give more importance to the outcome, impact, and all of that, and structure it in a better way. So why I said that is so your club secretary does not miss anything. That is why I told you need to include even tiny details to it. But yes, you should be always giving more importance to objectives, outcomes, and impact, including more, like, just to make it lengthy, you include a lot of unnecessary details. That's not going to be a good one. I hope I answered that question.
Okay, I think so. Um, Guys, before the other questions arises, I just wanted to let you all know that we have shared a link in the chat box for to get you guys with the attendance list and then once you fill out the forms, you'll get the presentation slides in order so that you can go through it laterwards. So I request you all to fill out the form, which will be very easy for us as well, in order to get your attendance list and for you all to get the presentation slides as well. So yeah, with that, there's one more question coming up. Yeah. So when preparing a detailed project report, should we include
I just
every?
answered it.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah. Anyone else who would love to question up? Okay, then we can wrap it up with it. Yeah. So thank you everyone for your thoughtful questions and the active participations you guys had. I've never seen such a active question and answer session here, but wow, that's awesome. And once again, we extend our sincere gratitude to Rotaractor Shazmina Jawahir for sharing her valuable insights and experiences with us today. And as a token of appreciation, I would like to invite Rotaractor Tirunisa Singh, who would love to take over.
First of all, thank you so much, Rotaractor Shazmina Jawahir, for being here today for our session. Actually, it was more engaging than we expected. So I hope that everyone could get their questions clarified from the district itself. I think as the beginning of the year, it was very nice session to have, I would say.